Right, folks. Another serious one. Our serious videos, our serious ones, seem to go down quite well, you lot. So once again, we're going to try and keep it below 30 minutes. It's a big one as such for some people. As you've read from the title, it's redundancy, and I think I've been made redundant twice, and I was close a third time, and I actually left or something. Well, anyway, but what I'm going to do, folks, June's been made redundant as well. How many years ago, June?
5 years.
5 years ago, June was made redundant. I got made redundant from a place in Ashby, near the chicken company that used to be. I used to work for Granada in the warehouse and stuff, and I think I'd been there about a year or so, and anyway it all went tits up and I got made redundant. But I think there was a bloke there who was on the X Factor or something, or Pop Idol, and he did the chicken song, and he was from Ashby. It's near there, so if you're from Ashby Way or Colville or around that area, you'll know it. So I got made redundant there. Didn't expect it. Gone, nothing. You don't get nothing when you've only been there about a year. And then I got made redundant from a place in Colville, up Breedon, the Breedon Industrial Estate up that way. I was forklift truck driver there. Worked in the warehouse. I'd started as I got a job as a temp, and I got took on, and I was running the warehouse, a section of it where it was loading the trucks on the goods out area. I'd worked my way up, fair enough. Anyway, they lost a contract with Argos, who set up their own warehouse up Lutterworth Way, and I got made redundant from TDG. It was quite funny, really, because there was always this bloke there, the union rep, the union rep, right? And it was always going, "Oh, you're joining the union? Are you joining the union?" I'm going, "No, I'm not joining the union, because you won't do anything for me." And I says, "I'm not paying £120 a year just for some bloody diary." "Oh, but think of the benefits of all staying together and everything." I says, "No, I'm not doing it, because you won't help us." And anyway, when I've been there, I think I've been there about 2 years, over 2 years. Anyway, then it come through with the redundancy. And one of the lads who'd been in the union, who started at the same time as me, actually went up to the union bloke and asked him for help, saying, "What can we do?" And basically the union bloke just said, "Well, we can't do anything, it's, that's the way it is." And like the bloke's like saying, "I've been paying into the union, you've just basically dropped me then." And I just sat there laughing and said, "Told you, didn't I? Told you, they won't help you." That's not against unions, but I just knew this union bloke was in the pocket of the management up there. So I got made redundant from there, didn't get a payout or nothing. But I do tend to...
That one was a difficult one, wasn't it? Because that was when I found out about your debts.
Yeah,
we came back on holiday and you said, "I've been made redundant."
Yeah.
And then I found out about your debt, so that was a really tough one.
Yeah, June was looking, she weren't going through my mail or anything, but she was going through my mail because of all these job interview things and that were coming back, and she wanted to let me know and all that kind of thing. Then I found a letter of the debt. If you've not seen my 35k in debt one, go and have a look. It's that's quite eye-opening. So I got made redundant, folks, but the main thing about being made redundant in my book is that after the initial "oh fuck, what am I going to do?" you pick yourself up and you move on. I've never been one to be put down as such. I've always got up, even when my mum and dad split up and I worked with my dad, and I weren't going to work with my dad again because I'd have ended up putting an hammer through his head. At the time, I won't now, because me and my dad are great, we get on really well. Things happen, don't they, with relationships. In fact, that might be another video, parents splitting up. If you want to hear that one, let us know. Put the comments in the bottom. So anyway, even when my mum and dad split up and I packed in work with my dad, I got a job. I went and got a job. The idea of being made redundant is that you pick yourself up. You don't let the bastards put you down, right? Because being made redundant is so when you've got a family and stuff, it's pretty soul destroying. And you honestly haven't got a clue where you're going to turn to. It's almost like
you're being told you're not good enough.
It is. I must admit that every time I was made redundant, it was nothing to do with me. And I would say 95% of people who get made redundant, it is nothing to do with them. Yes, right, you do get the people who get made redundant because 1, they've had too much sick, 2, they don't give a fuck, 3, they're fucking useless at the job, 4, they shouldn't even have a job, and things like that, right? But most people who get made redundant, it is not through their fault. I would say most people get made redundant in this country due to shit British management, who half of them couldn't run a fucking tap. And I would stand by that. It's like Thomas Cook. They've gone down the pan, right? Hundreds of years of history, gone down the pan because British management is shit. Most companies in this country that are struggling, they're all blaming Brexit and stuff at the moment. It's got fuck all to do with Brexit. It's British management. Now, no doubt you'll all be putting Brexit comments and that stuff. It's down to where I work. They're not bothered about Brexit. They're taking it. They're getting ready for it. They're ready for it, right? So it is down to British management. But what you've got to do, folks, you've got to, when you get made redundant. When I got made redundant, I was going through the papers as it were back then. The internet weren't really that good as a place for job hunting, was it? I don't know what, but the main thing I've got, if I ever lost my job, if I ever got made redundant, if I ever walked out of my place, I have got forklift truck licenses. Forklift truck licenses are the saviour of today's modern man. Granted, right, the hours in a warehouse are shit, but you need a job to provide for the family. You need a job to give you some self-esteem. You need a job to make you feel worthy. And that's what warehousing did for me. I've always basically worked in a warehouse. I got my forklift licence when I was a young lad. I think I was about 12 or 13. No, I weren't. So I always tend to find, so my first advice to anybody who gets made redundant, and you haven't got a forklift licence, go and get one, right? Because what happens is, you get in a warehouse and you can then develop into something else. I got into a warehouse and I've actually, wherever I've worked, I've actually moved on in the company because of, 1, the fact that I'm willing to put myself out there, and I'll do anything. Now that's not anything like kissing arse or anything like that. If I don't agree with the manager, I'll tell him I don't agree. You've got to get out there and you've got to put yourself out and make yourself worthy to the company. So you do the hours what they ask you, right? I don't want to hear none of this, well, I'm not working nights. I ain't working nights, I'm not working weekends. Well, if you don't want to work nights and you don't want to work weekends, you ain't going to get a job that pays. I personally also would cut this bloody stupid, the government thing where it makes you wage up. I don't understand why somebody should go and work at the weekends and on nights, and then somebody who doesn't has their wage made up to what that person's just done on nights. That ain't fair. That is not fair at all. That person's there putting himself out, being away from the family and all that, while the other one's just basically doing fuck all and still getting the benefits made up for that. It ain't on. It ain't right. So is there anything you would like to add to this, Stu, when you got made redundant after 50 years at a company? Where you were dropped
I was more emotionally distraught than you were, wasn't it? As is fairly typical of June.
Yeah, June is always a fucking quivering mess when something does go wrong. Where I embrace it.
I've been at the same company, a small business, family-run business for 25 years, and sadly they lost a major contract. And we all knew at that point that the writing was on the wall. It wasn't going to survive. We knew that. And sadly, because the company went into administration, although I'd been there 25 years, I only got statutory redundancy pay, which is bugger all. But like BVM's just said, you've got to pick yourself up and
Well, I think I picked you up, didn't I?
I think you did, yeah. But you got to come back, attack it. I mean, I went to the job centre. Is it still called the job centre?
Is it still called the job centre, folks, or is it called the chain of some kind of
whatever the job centre, centre, and that is a soul destroying place. But I've got to say, I mean, I got job seekers allowance, and I think I got it for 6 months. I think you can get it for longer depending on your circumstances. You know, it's means tested as such. And I had to sign on every fortnight. And what I did, because I haven't got a clue, I've been in this job for 25 years, I haven't got a clue how to apply for a job, how to write a CV, anything like that. And I've got to say, the job centre were very good. They advised you how to write a CV, and they do offer courses to get you back into work, and I did take them up on a course, but sadly I didn't get to finish that course because I had found a job at that point.
Well, that's not sad then, is it?
Well, no, it's not. It's not. I would have liked to have finished the course though, because it was a good course to be on.
Do you think that the job centre? I mean, you just said the job centre was helpful, but do you think the job centre was helpful because you were helpful and willing to them?
Yeah.
Or do you think that if somebody went in there with an attitude of I don't care, it's your job, it's your responsibility to find me a job?
Yeah, I mean, one of the, I think she was a careers advisor or some such thing. She was really good because she could see I was desperately wanted a job. And she said to me, "You'll find something." She says, "And I'll tell you why you'll find something. And that is because you want it. It's obvious to anybody that you want a job."
Yeah.
And I signed on with a couple of temp agencies, and again they were really helpful because they helped me with my CV also. They did a better job than the job centre, to be quite honest. And as soon as I've got my CV in place, I started to get interviews.
Yeah.
And I think the 3rd interview I went on, I actually got the job. Sadly, I didn't stay there. It was for a very big company in Loughborough.
Shall we tell the company?
No, I don't think that's fair. But sadly, I didn't stay because 2 of the directors from the job that I'd been in for 25 years set up on their own.
Yes.
And they asked me to work for them on a part-time basis. And I did only want to work part-time because Ginger was only small at the time, and this job in Loughborough that I'd got was full-time, and I didn't want full-time. I couldn't really do full-time with any ease because I've got Ginger small. So yeah, and I went to work for them, and that's where I am now.
It's quite funny, really, though, isn't it?
Doing the same job.
It's quite funny because the company that you went to for a couple of days and then got another job.
You did the same.
I was actually there for
less than a week.
Well, we'll say a week. I started on the Monday. On the Tuesday or the Wednesday, I'd actually got this job where I've been now for the last 13 years. So we've actually done the dirty on this massive company.
I don't think we did the dirty there because they're a bit crafty because they only ever keep you on as a long-term temp, don't they?
Yeah, so they don't really give you a proper job. They just keep you on a rolling contract thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's to avoid redundancies and stuff like that.
And they don't have to pay pensions or whatever. Well, I think that's all changed now because you have to pay.
But you know, if that hadn't have come up, then I'd have stuck at this job as much as I didn't like it because, in all honesty, I didn't like it. It was a bit grey, shall we say.
A bit like The Office, but without the humour.
Yeah.
Without Ricky Gervais pouncing around. But to get back to the other thing apart to this, what it is in my book is that I've always wanted to look to better myself and improve myself. So when you're actually doing a job, I must admit, when I found this job where I am now, I basically stopped looking for another job because I knew in my heart of hearts I couldn't really better myself by leaving this company and doing anything else. This company where I am now, I could have probably gone a little bit higher. I'm pretty sure I could have done, to be fair.
But you didn't want it.
But I didn't want it. I'm 50-year-old and I can't be doing with all the shit that comes along with it. I really honestly can't. So But this is what I'm going to get to now, people. Whenever you get a job, you should always be looking to better yourself. Don't fall into the rut. Don't stick in the one-time thing.
Well, it's easy to do that though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you get into that groove and it's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy. It might not be your dream job, but you perhaps know it inside out, and it's just easy. And it's because being out of work is really scary.
Oh, it is.
It is. It's really scary.
It's one of the worst. Not death related or anything like that, or family splitting up. It's one of the worst feelings ever, because you are actually turning around and I was sitting there thinking, when I first got made redundant, I was actually thinking, how the fuck am I going to do this now? Look after the family, pay for the house, run the cars or whatever. You are actually thinking, right, well, that's going to have to go. You get rid of all your Sky. But it weren't just that, I'd got me debt as well. I mean, I was managing in theory on my debt and in my wage. But
once you'd lost that job,
once I lost the job, I knew I was deep in the shit, and that this video also relates to my 35k in debt thing. So all I can say, folks, is if you are looking like you're losing your job.
You see, it was difficult for me because when I lost my job and I knew I was going to lose my job, I'd got to hang in there until the bitter end to get me statutory redundancy. But it was awful. Yeah. It was awful because the atmosphere was terrible. It was really sad because the people I'd worked with for all that time, they were all going to be in the same boat, and it was just really awful. And the day the administrators come in, I was one of the last ones there. Yeah. And to see them taking the keys for the property off my bosses and shut it all down, that was so sad.
But like I've said though,
sometimes I think it is a good thing because it shakes you out of that groove. It shakes you out.
It shakes you that much. Out of 5 months, you went straight back into it under the same management.
I'm talking about me. Yeah. At the time, I was 46, and I didn't really particularly want to do any big career changes because I'm a mother first and foremost. So it was just, it eased our life by me working part-time, so I didn't want to make any great changes or work full-time like I've already said. But I think sometimes in your instance it was a good thing that final time you got made redundant.
It was the best.
I mean, I found out about your debt and we managed to get that under control and get that paid off and that sorted out, so that was one good thing that came out of it. And you then went into the best job that you've ever had. And when you went to the temp agency, you went as a forklift truck driver, and the temp agency actually said to you, you're too good just to do that, go for this. Yeah, go for this. And that's what you did. And you would never have gone for that.
I wouldn't have done.
It was a well-paid job. Yeah. It was a well-paid job.
It was. I mean, in the end, I was well over 30k a year. Well over 30k. And I don't mean that's 30k 200. It's well over that.
Yeah, and you did quite a lot of overtime.
And I did loads of overtime. I did everything I could. I learnt all the machines and as much as I could, and that were it. So,
and I think sometimes that's the way forward to avoid redundancy. It's not always possible, especially in my instance where the company just went. But if you can get yourself in a position where you're going to be one of the last to go. Yeah. People say nobody's indispensable, but you make yourself as indispensable as possible. Yeah. By going that extra mile. I know it's perhaps not what people want to hear these days, but I think if you're in a job and you're willing to put yourself forward, willing to stay that extra 5 minutes to get the job done. Yeah, it all helps. It all helps, and maybe it's a bit old-fashioned and you youngsters out there, but I've always said there's a lot to be said for somebody who is reliable, who turns up every day when they say they're going to turn up, they're not late, they turn up, who is willing to have a go, even if they think they can't do it, but they'll have a go, and somebody who will ask questions. Yeah, and you get so many youngsters these days who try and lie. If they've made a mistake, they'll try and lie to cover themselves. Don't just say, oh shit, I've made a mistake.
Well, we've just had a bloke sacked from our place, and he'd fucked up. He'd fucked up big style. Where if he'd actually gone and said, I've screwed up here, then fair enough. We could have sorted it and all that, but there was tons and tons of stuff that he'd made, and it could have caused us big problems. And it was only because the QC guy had spotted it, that was it. So if you make a mistake or something like, so basically what we're trying to say is here for the redundancy thing. When I'd been at my place for 3 years, there were redundancies. It was just when we'd hit the crash and things were all going tits up, and they did make redundancies. But fortunately, because I'd had no time off, I've only had 2 days off in 13 years while I've been at this place. And both times I've got the shits because the kid had come home with some bug.
From school.
And that was it. So I've only had 2 days off in 13 years. My attitude towards my job was excellent.
Sorry, that's the
beef.
top side done.
That's the beef done. Ruth. You want to show that to the camera, June?
No, it's wobbling.
No, it's wobbling. So basically, folks, you've got to value your job. You've got to make yourself, unless the company's going down the shitter, you've got to make yourself worthy. Don't have time off just for the sake of it. If you're lying in bed thinking, I can't be bothered, get up and go to work, because you never know when it's going to go get you. If you make a screw up at work, go and tell somebody. Just value your job. We've got blokes at our place, and I wouldn't pay them in the bloody floor sweepings off them. The amount of time they've had off, it's absolutely unbelievable. That looks nice, June. What are you doing? You got it stuck on the beef's expanded and it's stuck on the Alright, sweetheart. There we go.
No, it's not.
No.
Oh.
So that's it, folks, really. All we're saying is I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, but I can't take my eyes off this beef.
I thought you were looking at me.
Well, I do look at you, June, but at the moment I can.
But I think what you've got to say is, yeah, it's an awful time, isn't it? Really being made redundant, and it's a difficult one. It is a difficult one.
Do you want to show the meat off, June?
Oh, if you want to.
There we go. June's roast beef, a la beef. Lovely. Lovely. Hey, remember that? Lovely. Yeah. Right, we'll get back onto this track now. I've got a couple of minutes to go. It's hard to say really with this redundancy thing, because I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to give my feelings on when I was made redundant, and you've just got to basically get up off the floor and go again.
Take it baby steps at a time. Get yourself down the job centre for a start off.
Yeah.
And they will steer you in the right direction. They will offer you. They'll ask you if there's any courses that you can take that you think will help you.
Yeah.
And I did take one of those courses, and it was a bloody good course, to be quite honest. And like I said, I was disappointed that I didn't couldn't continue with it, because I think it would have been useful. But you can take your forklift truck license.
Yeah, just take forklift truck. I'm telling you, right. And this isn't a sexist thing, because girls can drive them. There used to be girls at when I used to work at Cannon in Colville. Right, I left there on my own accord. There were girls there that used to drive the forklifts, and they were at Amy.
No.
Who were the big Kath. She were fucking brilliant, and I don't mean that as a sexist thing. And Sarah, they were really good forklift truck drivers. So what I'm saying there is, I'm not being sexist. What I'm saying is that girls, if you're doubting yourself, go and get your forklift license and have a go.
If that's what you fancy. But there's all kinds of courses out there, and they will do everything they can. Because they don't want you to be unemployed.
Yeah, but what you do is, folks, right, we're going to wind this up now.
You can't be too proud.
You can't be too proud. I mean, anybody who knows Loughborough, right? Shelthorpe Road in Loughborough. When I packed in working with my dad, I went to the temping agency. I ended up as a bin man, right? And I've swept Shelthorpe Road with a yard brush, the gutters, right? Because that's the kind of person I am. I was out of work, but I would rather work and sweep the gutters than sit on my fat arse watching Trisha as it was then, right? So when you get made redundant, don't take it as defeat. Don't take it as a kick in the bollocks or a slap in the tits. Embrace it and think, I'm going to make the most of this, right? I'm going to make a new start, and I'm going to find this challenge, and I'm going to do it, because that's what I did when I went to when I left TDG. I joined a couple of temping agencies, but I kept looking and I kept fighting, and I wouldn't let the fucking system put me down. So what I did, I applied for this job at Melton. I got it, right? But I only applied for the warehouse. But the girl said, no, go for the factory job. Went for it, got it. And it was the best thing I ever did. I thank my dead mother, who must have been looking after me, who got me made redundant, who got me that job. And that's what you got to do. Don't let redundancy put you down. Embrace it as a challenge and start again. Granted, some people are living in places where there is no hope, but there's always hope. You've always got to keep fighting, keep getting up and getting on with it. Do a bloody Tyson Fury when he got whacked in the gob and he got on it and sat up.
As long as you've got a job, any job, you're not going to stay in that job.
No, I even did soundproof fitting for a bloke in Melton Mowbray, and one week I'm in Newcastle, the next week I was in Caerphilly, the other week I was in Norwich, next week I was in Carlisle, right? Metal Box there. People know Metal Box in Carlisle? I've worked there. Soundproofing around your machine.
You've just got to do anything, haven't you? Because it's easier to find a job when you've got a job.
Yeah, just get yourself into a job, any kind of job. Own bargains. I'd love to work in Own Bargains. It'd be fucking brilliant.
Oh God.
All the stuff I could bring home to review. Right? And then as soon as you've got a job, then you can start looking again. Because when people are hiring, they only really want to hire people who are actually working or really actively looking for work. So if anybody I know who is out of work, please don't take this as a dig at you. But please take this video on board and try and do something like that. Forklift truck licenses are the godsend of anybody.
Yeah, it gets you back into the workplace.
It gets you back into the work system. Yeah, you're working nights, sometimes you're working weekends, but whatever. But while you've got a job, it's easier to find a job. So, do you want to add anything else, June? We've got 2.5 minutes.
No, I think that's.
I think we've covered it.
This say, just don't be too proud. Accept any help that's offered you with different courses, and join the temp agencies.
Take it as a new start.
The temp agencies will get you interviews at places.
But then it's up to you. I can remember my interview was by Rob Dickinson. Not Dickinson's Real Deal, but Rob Dickinson's. And he said to me, what's your ambition? And at the time I was buying the Mercury every Wednesday because that was the job page. And he says, what's your ambition? And I went, stop buying the Mercury on a Wednesday. And he went, why is that? I says, it's the bloody job page and I'm fed up with it. And he went, good answer. So people have asked us to do a thing about redundancies. This is the best, well not the best, but this is what we've put together for you folks. It's hard to do these little videos, isn't it?
Like I've said before, we've only got our experience to go on, haven't we? We're not professionals, we don't.
No.
But I just took every bit of help that I could get, and like I say, I wasn't out of work long. I think it was 2 months.
Yeah.
Because it was more difficult for me to get a job.
Yeah, because you ain't got a forklift licence. You should have got a forklift licence.
Yeah, if I'd had a forklift licence, I'd have been all right. Idiot. But yeah. And once you've been to a couple of interviews, I found that terrifying because I've never really been for one since I was 18, 19. Once you've been to a couple, you're more relaxed, and to be honest, the second interview, I nearly got that job.
Yeah, you had, didn't you? You did nearly get it.
Nearly got that. It was just somebody who was better qualified than me came in right at the last minute.
They had bigger norks.
And then the third job interview, I actually got.
Shorter skirt.
I'd been there 2 days.
Then left.
My old boss offered me my job, so. There
you go, folks. Hopefully this video has helped some people. And some it probably won't. It's the way it goes. Alright, folks. Laters.
Bye.